with prospective students, with the primary goal being to share information about the university and our programs and make sure that any questions students have are answered so that you get everything you need out of the event. Normally we do this face-to-face. Unfortunately, right now we're not able to do that, but I'm looking forward to replicating that experience here online as best we can. And I'm sure that I feel confident we'll be able to do that. So Tom's got a good presentation that covers basics about the university. And then he and Matt will be able to share some specifics about the environmental studies program and what makes it unique and special. So as always, feel free to ask questions via the chat at any time. We can get to those as we go. And we can also, of course, converse as well, whatever works for everybody. I appreciate your consideration of Point Park. Point Park has always been a very career-focused, a very adult-focused, and a very flexible institution. And I think that serves us well in these times where we're all dealing with a lot of unique circumstances in our professional and personal lives. We're very proud of our campus, and we're looking forward to getting back to it safely in the fall via social distancing methods. We plan to have campus classes, as many schools do, and we're prepared for whatever flexibility we need to inject to make sure that that is safe and healthy for everyone. And finally, just from an economic standpoint, we know that affordability and value are really important, and we work really hard to make sure that we give that to every student that chooses Point Park, whether through things like discounts and scholarships and grants, and just great program content and wonderful faculty who really will make your degree worthwhile. We're really excited about the Point Park experience and everything that our faculty bring to it. As you'll learn today, you'll get to hear from Matt about the program and his experience with it. So Tom's going to cover all those things in a little bit more detail, but just wanted to thank you for coming. Encourage you to listen and then ask any questions that you have so that you get all the information you need. And with that, I will turn it over to Tom. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Lynn. So yeah, as Lynn already mentioned, kind of the goals of this presentation will be, I'd like to go through, just like some general information about the campus at large. I'll give you some information about the admissions process also. I am an admissions counselor, that's my title, and I work with this program and several other programs. So the admissions process is kind of my area of expertise. And then we can all discuss some details about this specific program. And if you think of any questions along the way, like Lynn said, feel free to just ask them in the chat bar. And at the end of the presentation, we can do kind of like a Q&A session where I'll moderate the questions. So we're looking at Point Park. Like at large, I know
I'm sorry, one question. Did you hit the record button?
I did, yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I did like a couple seconds after you started talking.
Wonderful.
So
Thank you.
yeah, we're good. These may or may not be some things that you already know about Point Park, but some of the things that are unique or good about Point Park are that we have small class sizes. We have very experienced faculty who oftentimes still work in their respective fields. We have a convenient downtown Pittsburgh location, which is really great for people who are still working or even otherwise. The downtown it's very accessible, by public transit and everything like that. It's centrally located, which is good. As Lynn mentioned, we have a class schedule that kind of keeps working adults in mind. For this particular program, the classes are on Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. So if you have like people who are working full-time during the day, they still would be able to attend the classes. And we do offer numerous graduate assistantships. There is one for this program, although I don't believe it's open anymore for this fall.
Yes, it was filled.
Yeah, it was just recently filled. But you can still check the graduate assistantships. You can see what's available on the Point Park Careers website. Once in a while, there will be one that's open to all graduate students or like another specific subset of people. It tells you who's eligible for the assistantship, like on the listing for it. So even if one is not open right now, that applies to you, I still encourage people to check it regularly because you never know when one may open up that you could apply for. And another great thing about Graduate School at Point Park is our Graduate Student Association, which just was kind of like revamped or restarted by some graduate students last year. And that's the thing that I think is a really great resource for graduate students to have, as far as, like networking and just support to have. You can kind of meet up with people who are in other graduate programs at Point Park. So I think that's a really great thing. And if you ever have any questions about that, you can feel free to reach out to them as well. I know they're like really nice, really helpful people. So that's just a few of the things that I think are, like I said, unique or good about Point Park. These are positive things that I hear from students that they like about going to school at Point Park.
Cool.
As far as the admissions process goes, once you submit your application, you can do that online. There is no application fee if you submit it online. We'll need some documents from you. These are pretty standard as far as applying to any grad school goes. We will need official transcripts from any other school that you've attended. We'll need a statement of purpose and an updated resume and 2 letters of recommendation. We do have a 2.75 undergrad GPA requirement. And for this particular program, it's required that you have at least 6 science credits in your undergraduate work. Most people who have a bachelor's degree already have that requirement, but I'd just like to put it up front that it's there. You don't necessarily have to have your entire bachelor's degree in science. People oftentimes do, but you don't have to, as long as you have those science credits there. And as far as the process for admissions goes, just to give you a kind of a gist of how it works. Once you submit the application and you submit all of your documents, I will pass on your completed file to the department, and then they'll review it and give a decision. If you have all of your documents ready to go, you usually will have a decision within like 1 to 2 weeks, usually much shorter than that. And you can submit your application and then submit the documents later. You don't have to have everything ready to go all at once. You can just kind of submit your documents as you get them. And I think that's kind of like the basics for that. And if we have questions about that whole thing that are in more detail, we can talk about it later. So that's kind of the general admissions process. I already touched on some of the stuff earlier, but these are just some of the financial aid options that we have. We have all kinds of different options available through the university and otherwise. There are different scholarships, grants, assistantships. We have different payment plans. Employer reimbursement, obviously that's not offered through us, but I know a lot of the businesses downtown participate in this. I'm not sure if your employer does, but it may be worth checking or asking to see if they would be willing to do anything like that, because it's something that I see pretty often. I see graduate students take advantage of.
Just for example, the Allegheny Health Department offers assistance with tuition on this program.
Cool.
Yeah, and then we also offer loans directly through the university as well.
Cool.
So, and if you ever have questions about that, you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to our financial aid office, and they can give you more information. But this is just to let you know that we have all sorts of options for financial aid and payment options.
Cool.
Okay, so as far as this specific program goes, I said, Dr. Opdyke, you can feel free to jump in on this part whenever you want. I just put like some starter information here. So the goals for this program, kind of like the career outcomes or like the goals that I hear people state when they apply for the program. There are a wide range of careers that I see people go into after doing this program, which includes nonprofits, consulting work, conservation work, working with the government, or kind of like combinations of all of those things. This program is 30 credits and it's designed to take 1 calendar year to complete. That's if you take a full-time course load. You do have the option to take a part-time course load, and then it will take you a little bit longer to do. But the way the program is kind of designed, you start in the fall and then you finish kind of like the following, like at the end of the following summer. So it takes you about a year to complete.
Okay.
And some of the themes that you can explore in the research for this program are listed here. You know, we have like business communication with environmental issues, environmental policymaking, conservation and management, and urban renewal and environmental sustainability, and restoration work as well. Those are just some of the things that we see like explored within this program. So yeah, that's just kind of, like I said, like a big picture overview of the program. Did you have anything to add, Dr. Okdike, that you think would be?
Yeah, just
I know there are a lot more details.
So I'm the director of the program, but a few more details in terms of the 30 credits. So we have classes from August to August, and so that's a full year schedule. It's every Monday and Wednesday, even in the summer when we have our classes Wednesday, but they're all evening classes. And so I would say about 60% of our students are working adults, and so they tend to appreciate those evening classes. And then the other 40% have just graduated from undergraduate, and they're coming into the program. And certainly not all of them are biology majors. And so you'll see right now, students, I've got 2 that are biology majors. One is, I guess, more of a business background, and the other one is more undecided in terms of her background. So you don't have to come into the program as a biology major.
Nice.
So, yeah. And then in terms of like the research themes, this is just kind of an idea. I calculated about 85% of our students, when they graduate, get jobs in the environmental field. And so the remaining 15% will either go back to school or, you know, for some reasons want to choose careers not in the environmental field. But we have a very high success rate. All of our students pretty much graduate. I can't, in the 10 years that I've been teaching in the program, you know, I can't think of a student that really hasn't finished the program.
Nice.
And
Company.
and I mean, some of the things the students have said is they really enjoy the sort of the breadth of the program. So there's a lot of diversity in classes. We have politics, we have economics. Some of those classes, like economics, I said, are taught by professionals who are working in the field. And then you've got more academic professors like myself. And so you get pretty broad diversity of professors as well as classes.
Nice. That's good to know.
Yeah, and we also try to have in our classes, we try to have students do projects that have meaning. So this spring I taught an environmental health course, and students had to work with the nonprofits around Pittsburgh and essentially draft a report on lead issues in Allegheny County. And we were working with a journalist from Mississippi who was interested in, you know, essentially correlating her work with our work and, you know, drawing conclusions from that.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we do a lot of projects like that.
And I know as far as grad school goes, we have a lot of programs at Point Park that kind of focus on that real hands-on, real experience you can get, and that's really valuable in grad school, because then when you finish the program, you'll have something tangible that you can show employers. You can say, this is what I did, this is what my expertise is in, and that's a really valuable experience to have.
Yeah.
That's another positive thing that I hear from students that they really like about this program and Point Park's commitment to that in general.
Yeah. So I'm not responding more. I'm trying to write everything down.
Yeah, sure. And I will after this is over, I can email this entire PowerPoint to you just so you have it. It also has we already talked about this. This is kind of the class schedule. And it also has myself and Dr. Okdike's contact information here. You can feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have any questions at all about the admissions process or anything like that. Something I forgot to mention at the beginning, we don't have admissions deadlines at Point Park University. So we definitely are still taking applications for this upcoming fall semester. I'm not sure when you're looking to start graduate school, but if it's this fall, you still have plenty of time. And yeah, like I said, if you have questions, go ahead and reach out. So that's basically all of like the generalized information I wanted to go over. I would like to open it up to kind of a Q&A session now. If you have any questions yourself that you'd like to ask us.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I guess I was going to ask if you have starting in spring semester, but then I remember you said it was August to August. So it starts then.
Well, let me ask a quick question. Have you ever had any environmental science classes
Yes.
as an undergrad?
Yeah.
Okay, so if students have had undergrad classes in environmental science, I often allow them to come in the spring.
Oh, okay.
And then what you can do is, well, you have a couple choices, but you could start in January and then finish next year, essentially, in the fall or in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, does it have to be like an extensive background in environmental sciences?
Just looking at it as, well, not extensive so much, just an undergrad class in environmental science.
Okay. Okay. So
Because we have 2 fall classes that are environmental science.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of that carries over into the spring semester.
Okay. Got that. How many people are typically enrolled in the program?
It varies widely. This last year is actually relatively small with 4 students, but we go up to 12. So it's between 4 and 12. Yeah, so we have a small program, and one thing that students really benefit from that is that they're able to kind of connect with professors. We have a very active advisory board that are professionals working in the environment, and they're essentially advising this program. So we connect them with our students too. So it's almost like a one-on-one learning in terms of your professors and our advisory board.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you're not like, I'm not coming into some huge lecture hall where I'll never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And all the students really, I mean, are pretty tight knit. They're good friends.
That's good.
We have a Facebook as well of current students and past students. I think there's about 30 or 40 people enrolled on that Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So we all keep in touch, and where students end up and opportunities.
Nice. That's cool. Let me think. So I'm just looking over the notes here. Like the letters of recommendation, do those need to be from previous professors?
We like at least one of them to be. But most people, what they do is they'll have like one academic reference and one professional reference. And there's not really like a hard requirement on that. But if you can get academic references, it would be great to have at least one.
Yeah.
But if you can't, we also understand. Because I know from my own experience, like I haven't gone to grad school yet, but I applied to some programs a few years ago. But some of the faculty that I was really close with at school have retired since I was in school, and I have a really hard time getting a hold of them. So I try to keep things like that in mind with people. Sometimes it's hard to get a hold of those professors that you might have had.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's maybe not such a hard requirement, but if you can, it would be great.
Like try as hard as I can, but
yeah.
You're understanding if something comes up. Okay. Trying to think of anything else. I mean, I don't know that I have anything else to ask right now. I'm sure, as soon as we get off the call, I'll probably think of 10 or 15 questions. But
that's totally okay. And like I said, sometime tomorrow, I'll send you a follow-up email with some of this information again, and then you'll have my contact information. So if you think of any questions at a later time, that's kind of what our office is here for. So please feel free to reach out anytime if you have questions, issues, anything at all.
That'd be great. Yeah, I mean, thank you both so much for doing this today. It's probably a lot of work for just one person. I do appreciate it though.
Yeah, and we're really glad that you were able to join us.
Have you had a chance to look at the list of classes that are offered?
I did. I had it pulled up. I was reading it earlier today. Yeah, it looks like some, like you mentioned, a wide breadth of classes there. I mean, not just, lab work or something, like
Right.
kind
Yeah,
of covering all the bases.
there's the environmental technology class in the spring is the only lab course,
Mhm.
but it's more like a field course. And so we learn a lot of the skills that if you want to, anyone interested in going into consulting or working for the government, like DEP, then it's learning those types of skills that they would need.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looked like, I mean, I only read the titles of the classes, but they all, sounded pretty interesting. Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to, to doing a little more research. I mean, I'm definitely interested. And I'll definitely be hopefully keeping contact with you guys.
Yeah, I hope so too. And like I said, if you have questions, feel free to reach out anytime.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's about all that I had to share. Dr. Opdyke, did you have anything else you'd like to say before we wrap it up here?
No, I think that's, yeah, I think I said
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks again, everybody, for coming, and we'll be in touch. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.
Bye.